and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about some tips for a successful project pan. I've just learned so much over the last year and a bit of doing project pans, and I thought I would share it with you. Also, project pan is one of the most popular videos on my channel, so I thought let's delve into it a little bit deeper. So without further ado, let's just get started. So I've already primed my face and my lids, done my brows, so this isn't going to be a super long video. Normally my project pans aren't that long, but anyway, I have 7 tips that I've written down here. I've just kind of written down the outline and then I'll explain further while I do my makeup. So starting, and I am using all my project pan items. Starting with the first tip or suggestion I have is don't pick something from every single category. So what I mean with that is I did my first project pan, properly last year, and I started it in January. I kind of picked something from every single category. So all the way from primer to lipstick to lip liner and mascara. And I think that doing that, you can get bored really quickly of your project pan because you feel the need to have to use a full face of project pan, as well as it kind of curbs your creativity because you feel kind of obligated to use those things. So I would pick a few core items that you would prefer to finish, like something that's going to expire or something you just don't get that much use out of and just want to use it, which leads me into my next suggestion, which is to pick products that you like and that you enjoy. So I do half and half in my project pans. That's how I like to plan it lately, and I found it so much more successful than I did before. Before, I kind of just picked products I didn't want to use. So it was all products that I kind of just wanted to finish up so I didn't have to waste it. For example, I started last year off with the Wet n Wild Renegade Lash Mascara. Honestly, it was waterproof and so difficult to take off. It was kind of pulling out my lashes. It would dry in like a weird tacky way, and I just didn't enjoy using it. So I'd use it maybe once in a while when I realized that I needed to get ahead of my project pan. I now choose things that I want to reach for, that it doesn't have to be old in my collection or new in my collection, just something that I enjoy using. So that's why I've brought in, like, for example, the Ofra highlighter, because I really like it, but I'm not getting a lot of use out of it because I don't really talk about high-end products on my channel. So what better way to use it than in my project pan? And I love the way it looks on my skin, so I feel like I want to use it. So I feel like that is very, very important. Again, there is stuff in my project pan that I don't particularly enjoy a lot, but I can make use out of it on an everyday basis. And I use a lot of my products for, like, if I'm doing a TikTok eye look, I'll use the rest of my face with my project pan just to include it. And because, for example, this foundation is one of my favorites, I'm more compelled to use it much more often. And for example, this Allego Velvet Bronzer Stick, it's not my favorite. I've mentioned it before, but the formula is quite dry and the undertone is quite red, so it looks like more of a blushy color on me. But when I'm doing no makeup days, like just a bit of concealer, I put this on the cheeks with a little bit of powder blush just to set it down, and it works out perfectly. And I've used almost all of it. So this should take me like no more than a couple of months to finish. So that's been very, very successful for me. Another thing I can suggest is something that I make the mistake of quite often, because during seasons, the color of my skin changes. Like in summer, it's darker, obviously, because I'm out in the sun. And then in winter, it lightens up and I have more of like a yellow undertone. So my suggestion is definitely to pick foundations and concealers that are actually your color. So if you start your project pan in January, for example, like for us in South Africa, it is summer. So I'll pick darker shades and something that suits me during that season. And obviously with a rolling project, you can rolling project, you roll things in and out as you see fit. So for me now, it is going into winter in South Africa, or autumn, so the weather's cooling down. I'm not outside as much, and also I have this new reading vlog style video, so I'm mostly indoors reading and I don't see much sunlight, so my skin color has changed quite a bit. However, I chose a good foundation that can kind of take me further during the seasons. So again, with my concealer, I've had to roll in a new one just because the shade was way too dark for me and made me look orange now that my skin is lightening up. So that's also very important. The same with blushes. Like, I'm really struggling to make a dent in my what is it called, the Essence, the blush, just because I'm not particularly enjoying the formula, and also I think the shade is a little bit too light for my skin tone. But now going into winter or spring, it's still a vibrant enough color to warrant wearing it every day, as well as my skin's light enough now for it to show up a little bit more. So it could work to my advantage, and like I said, I'm going to give it another month, see if I enjoy it a little bit more, if the formula or my opinion has changed. But I'm going to give it one more month, but still, that's like 4 months of use then, which I wouldn't have done before. The next tip, I'm going through these really fast. I'm probably not even going to be able to finish my makeup in time, but I'm going to try my best. I suck at multitasking. I kind of move my hands a lot, so I don't really get things done. Anyway, moving on to tip number 4, which is liquid products are actually a lot easier to track, first of all, and second of all, it is also easier to use. So I'm not particularly wasteful with my project pan. I know you can be if you really wanted to get ahead. You could use too much of some products and, you know, try and use it up faster, but for me, I really enjoy like these products, so I don't want them to particularly finish, but I still want to see the progress in my project pan. So for example, this bronzer over here, it's taken me forever to even make a slight dent in it, and I don't particularly like the formula. But for example, my foundation is like, I can see so much progress, but I cannot see how much progress I have on here. Yes, there's a slight dip, but I don't particularly know how deep the pan is. So it's a little bit harder to track powder products than it is liquid products. That's what I'm saying. So I would suggest using, if you are like goal orientated with your project pan, use more cream / liquid product. So with some powders I can see a lot more progress, like my setting powder, because I use a lot more of it to set my entire face rather than using a little bit like you would blush, which is just targeted. So it's very difficult to use powder products up quicker than it is liquid products, and like I said, to track it is also a lot easier. I know you can go ahead and like use a scale and check the grams, but I mean, who really wants to do that? I like project panning, but I don't want to put that much pressure on myself to, you know, have to measure everything once a month. I just think that that kind of takes the fun out of it and makes it kind of more like a chore rather than something for enjoyment. Next, I have tip number 5 is multitasking products. So in that respect, I mean, like, if you are goal orientated like I am, you want to see progress, but you, like I said, you don't want to be wasting your products. So adding in something that you can use for multiple purposes helps a lot. Like bronzer you can use as eyeshadow and blush as well, and mascara you can use as eyeliner, and lipstick you can use as blush. So put in products that you can use for multiple different reasons. Like even your concealer you can use as foundation, which I do on my no makeup days. So I'll go in and I'll just add my concealer in the usual spots, add some cream bronzer, go over it with some powder, add some powder blush, and I'll either extend that to my eyes, or like I have the project pan palette, so I'll use that. But try and use products that you can use in multiple different ways if you are really goal orientated and not just doing it for the sake of just, you know, wasting product. So yeah, that would be my personal opinion. I do makeup most days just because obviously I try to be relevant. Like on my TikTok and Instagram, so I'm literally doing makeup most days, if not like 4 or 5 times a week. So I try to give my skin breaks as well. So but this year I've really loved everything I've put in my project pan. So I've seen significant progress from the get-go, which is great for me, and I just want to get as much use out of the makeup that I do have, because this year I'm trying to focus on just getting everything that I don't like basically moved out of my collection. I don't have a massive collection, maybe one day, but for now I'm just trying to enjoy what I do have and not chasing the new. So it helps just multitasking products. If, for example, the trend of pink under eyes come around and I have like this cream velvet moisturizing lipstick from collection, I can use it for that. I've just used it as blush as well, so it really does help with things like that. So number 6, we're almost at the end and I'm not even done my makeup. For number 6, I know a lot of people actually like Project Pan, but then there's a lot of people who don't. But don't put pressure on yourself. Like, if you don't feel like using a specific product that day, don't. Like, for example, with me, I like to kind of, I wouldn't say monochromatic, but I like to match my eyeshadow with my outfit. So if today I'm wearing purple and there's no purple in my Project Pan eyeshadow palette, I'll just use something else, but try to include my Project Pan stuff as well. But I'll still try and include that palette in some way. Like if it's a transition color or a darker outer corner or a wing using the darkest eyeshadow, I try to still incorporate it somehow so I feel successful with using everything in my project. My under eyes are so light. I also did put a lot of pressure on myself last year, and like I said, it wasn't particularly products that I loved or wanted to use every single day, so it was really difficult, and I was constantly rolling things in and out, and I feel like that stunted the progress of where I wanted to be with those specific products. I still do kind of put a pressure on myself to use my Project Pan stuff, but I use the things that I like. Like, this isn't particularly my favorite bronzer, like I said, but I still try and include it in as a transition color. But if I don't feel like using it, I don't. I don't have a particular goal for any of my Project Pan items. Like, I just feel like that takes away from the enjoyment of it. So I don't always have specific goals for each product, but this one, I kind of just wanted to hit pan. So as soon as I hit pan, I will roll it out of my project. Again, like I said, my skin is lightening now, so you can kind of see it a little bit more. I can't use the dark shade because it's way too dark for my skin tone. I kind of have somewhere in between of like, I wouldn't say I have like deep skin, but nor do I have light skin. So it's somewhere in the middle of like medium to medium dark, but that one is way too dark, so I don't get much use out of it. But I don't feel guilty about it. I don't feel like shit, you know, I need to get that done and see progress, because this is a rolling project. So if for some reason I'm not enjoying it anymore, I'm not going to force myself to use it. So definitely have goals, but, you know, kind of give yourself the leeway to change your mind. Then lastly, I touched on it slightly, but have a kind of idea of products that you want to be rolling in. So for example, if I really just want to roll out this bronzer, I already have one in mind that I will replace it with. So I constantly have it in the back of my mind that I have a certain other product to roll in, and I think it just helps with the motivation. So there is another bronzer I really like and want to include in, but I really just want to see more progress on the one that I am currently using. So it makes it more exciting. So I think that is the most important thing with your Project Pan, is being excited to use the products, because if you're not, then what is the point? Like, you're just wasting your time. So yeah, I feel like that is really important, but you can't constantly be, my face looks weird. I think it's the powder. I don't think you should also be just rolling in and out products. Like I said, it stunted my growth a bit last year, and not my growth, but my progress. And because I am a lot goal orientated, I need to see progress, or it just kind of makes me lose interest. So it doesn't help feeling stuck. Those are the 7 things, the 7 tips I have for you guys. I obviously went way too fast, was talking a mile a minute and wasn't really focused on my makeup, but I'm gonna speed through my eye look and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Well, those are the 7 tips I have for you if you are planning to do a project pan. It is really fun, it is really rewarding, and I love the feeling of finishing up a product. However, I have learned so many things along the way. I thought it was pretty straightforward. You know, you pick some products, you use them up, but when you have a larger collection, it is difficult because you want to use different foundations, you want to use different eyeshadows, and I try to limit myself to actually focusing on what I have at hand, with the exception of eyeshadows, which I will be changing out seasonally so I don't get bored. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Please remember to subscribe and like this video if you did think it was helpful. But other than that, that's it from me, guys, and I will see you all next week. Bye.